What's up, guys? It is Sam here, and I wanted to talk briefly about student loan debt here in the United States. But before I do that, make sure you press that subscribe button. Just gently tap on that shit. And press that little bell notification. Just gently tap on that shit. So that YouTube can notify you every time I post a new video. Alright, with that being said, it is almost always in the news, especially as we're getting closer to the election season. Yes, we are months and months away, and I pay about this much attention to politics. Because 97% of what they say is just complete and utter bullshit, in my opinion. Or just, it's not bullshit, it's just there's very little, in my opinion, in terms of useful information other than to promote their own best interest. Not something that's going to help the vast majority of people, or it's either going to help themselves or help some tiny little minority, which I'm not saying you shouldn't help, but that's a lot of times when the certain minority groups get some type of special treatment. It is to the detriment of everybody else. Anyways, enough being said about that shit. I don't know anything about politics, and I pay that much attention to them. So whatever I say, you can let me know what an idiot I am down below in the comments when it comes to politics. But according to student loan debt, that is a interesting problem with over $1.5 trillion of student loan debt. That is becoming a larger and larger portion of total GDP. So I think it's around 10%. It's a little less than 10%, I think, last time I looked. But as that continues to go up, that puts pressure on other things. And one thing about student loan debt is that you cannot erase student loan debt through bankruptcy. Oh, there's a couple special circumstances where you can get rid of, extinguish student loan debt, but under very limited circumstances can you get rid of student loan debt through bankruptcy. So what that does is it just allows that, say if you're a school and you know that you can not be held accountable for the collections because you were able to lobby to have that debt put on to individuals and it cannot be extinguished, right? And on the other hand, you have the federal government who is willing to just loan copious amounts of money. Doesn't matter if there's any value in that proposition, right? So people can't get rid of it. Government's willing to subsidize the fuck out of it. So the organizations in the middle here, the schools that provide a subpar learning environment, in my experience, at least in today's world. This is 2019. Like, everything you learn in school, there's a little thing called the internet that you can learn. It's called Google. Just Google. Google that fucking shit. Or YouTube. And when you have that dichotomy of the people who go through the program cannot extinguish it for any reason, even if there was zero value in that program, and the federal government is willing to subsidize the fuck out of it, then schools can be like, okay, well, I'll just raise prices because then I can encourage people believe the story that people should go to school, right? Because that's what it was 50 fucking years ago. And maybe 50 years ago or 60 years ago or even 30 years ago, it made sense. Today, I don't know if it makes sense. At least not at these prices, right? Just like anything in life, right? If you're going to go buy a brand new Camry and the price is $5,000 and it's $35,000 off for whatever reason, good investment, right? Because you can literally buy it for $5,000 and turn around and sell it, even if you sell it for $27,000. Like, great, you just made $22,000. Just, you know what I mean? Like, that's a good ROI. Now, the other way, where you have that same Camry, it's $35,000 and it's selling for $67,000 or $104,000. You know what I mean? Like, is that really a positive ROI? You know what I mean? It takes much longer for that to be a positive ROI. You'd have to drive the car for, you know what I mean, multiple decades for that to really make economic sense. And that is exactly what's happening. So I think one of the easiest ways for this to kind of play itself out would be to allow some legislator, some person is going to come along and just say that people are allowed to extinguish their debt or get rid of it completely, like completely get rid of it, or cut it in half or something through the bankruptcy process. And what is that going to do? It's going to immediately do a bunch of different things. A shitload of people are going to file for bankruptcy and extinguish a large portion, if not all, of their debt, student loan debt. It's going to the federal government is going to have to take that hit on their books, right? And that's not going to be good. So they're going to start to hold the school more accountable, which means that tuition cost is going to have to come down, or nobody's going to want to go to school, right? Because they don't have the funding for that, right? Some combination of these things is going to happen. So I'm curious to see how this actually plays out for when somebody does recommend, when a legislator or somebody recommends that people who have student loan debt are able to extinguish it through bankruptcy. Because I think that will solve a tremendous amount of the problems. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe. I personally have student loan debts. I'm not saying that I would file for bankruptcy, but I think that there's a lot of people who maybe were in similar situations who don't have the same mindset. And that having that fucking mindset that I have, I think is tremendously valuable. And if you don't have, you know what I mean, if you're not good up here, like if your operating system's fucked up, then it makes like if you have a virus, right, on your computer, it makes it much harder to do things, right? Depending on the type of virus. Same thing. If your fucking mind is fucked up, if you're fucking pessimistic, if you're in that bad environment, like fucked up shit's happened to you, and to overcome that is not letting go. That shit needs to be taken care of, because I have $100,000 in student loan debt. I barely even, like, you know what I mean? It's not even like, it's not something that's an issue for me, but I could see how that could be a problem for a lot of people. Anyways, appreciate you guys. Peace.